The Palacio of the Bellas Arts is the most important cultural center in Mexico City, as well as the rest of the country in Mexico. It is located on the west side of the History Center of Mexico City, next to Alameda Central Park. The first National Theater of Mexico was built in the late 19th century, but it was soon dedicated to tear this down in favor of the more opulent building in time for the centennial of the Mexican War of Independence in 1910. The initial design of construction was undertaken by Italian architect Adamo Borlai in 1904, but complications arose for the soft subsoil and the political problems both before and during the Mexican Revolution hindered the supporting construction completed by 1913. Construction began again in 1932 under Mexican architect Federico Mariscal and was completed in 1934. The exterior was building is primarily of neoclassical and Art Nouveau, and the interior is primarily Art Deco. The building is best known for its murals by Diego Rivera, Siqueiros, and others, as well the many exhibitions of the theatrical performance is host, including the Ballet Folclórico de México. The earliest known structure on the city was a convent of the Santa Isabel, whose church was built in 1680. However, significant Aztec finds, such as the sacrificial altar in the shape of the plummet serpent, have been found there. The convent area suffered frequent flooding during the early colonial period, and development here grew slowly. In spite of this, the convent remained until it was forcibly closed in the 1860s by the reform laws. It was replaced by textile mill and loose class housing. A section of this housing on Santa Isabel Alley was torn down and replaced by National Theater in the later 19th century. During the late 19th century and very early 20th, this theater was the site of most Mexico City high culture, presenting events such as theater, operas, Vincent dance, and more. It was then dedicated to replace this building with a more opulent one for the upcoming centennial of Mexican independence celebrations in 1910. The old theater was demolished in 1901, and the new theater will be called the Gran Teatro de Ópera. The work was awarded to Italian architect Adamo Boari, who favored neoclassical and the Nouveau art styles, and who is the responsible for the Palacio del Correo, which is across the street. Adamo Boari promised in October 1904 to building grand metallic structure which at the time only exists the United States, but not to this size. The first stone of the building was placed by Porfirio Diaz in 1904, despite the 1910 decline. By 1930, the building was hardly begun with only a basic shell. One reason for this is the project became more complicated than anticipated as the heavy building sank into the soft spongy subsoil. The other reason was the political and economic instability that would lead to Mexican Revolution. Full hostiles supposed the construction of the palace completed and Adamo body returning to Italy.